Some time ago, I asked my billionaire mentor, what is the one thing that you must have to have more success? His answer was very, very intriguing. Hey, it's Gary Coxe, business and life strategist. If you're not familiar with me, I'm author of books such as Don't Let Others Rent Space in Your Head, and I'm a business and life strategist. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. If you haven't subscribed, love to have you subscribe as well so we can get to know each other further. So what was that one answer, that one thing that he told me when I asked him, what's that thing that you gotta have to have more success? His answer was this: there is no one thing. Best answer ever, because there isn't one thing. In fact, of all the millionaires, billionaires that I've interviewed that I have as friends, I'll see some that have huge successes and strengths in this area while their weaknesses are down here. And then I'll have other billionaires and millionaires that I know that where this person's weakness is, it's their strength and it's switched around. So I do, though, today want to share with you 3 things that I believe are vitally important to your success. I don't care if it's to quit smoking, losing weight, increase your income, start your business, run your business. You have to have these 3 things. Now, also what's interesting, for lack of a better word or verbiage, if you do not know how to manipulate the first 2 things, you're in trouble. Most people do not know how to manipulate, and the best way to respond to that, or give you the analogy of manipulating, is learn how to play games with your mind instead of your mind playing games with you. These 2 things that I'm going to share with you are constantly moving all the time. Most of them are being moved and controlled by external stimuli where they're controlling you subconsciously and you don't even realize it's happening. And it happens all day long. So I want to share with you a little bit about that. This will help you also understand why it is that you know what you need to do to get more results, but for some reason you can't get yourself to do it. Then the third thing that I'm going to share with you is what you're going to use to fuel the fire when the first 2 things are not at the level they need to be. When these first 2 things are at the level they need to be, trust me, you don't need anything to fuel the fire. You don't need anything to motivate you. You don't need to listen to music. You don't need to, get yourself pumped up raw. It is a natural self-motivating thing. Very powerful. So let's talk about them. The first one is not rocket science. You've heard it before. The problem with the first one, you'll hear these so-called gurus say, this, what I'm going to share with you next, is everything. You got to have this. No. I know a lot of people, myself included, you're going to have this. You either have it now very high, or there's times you've had very little of it. But when you've had it very high, and people who have this also take no action, and they still get no results. So we're going to go into the psychology of how to change that and what are the things that are really needed to maintain a consistent path toward your goal. So the first one is, again, not rocket science. You've heard it before. Belief. Belief. You've got to have belief. But belief, remember, is not everything. Why? Because how many times have you believed in something? There's a lot of people that believe, but they take no action. Without action, you get no results. So we've got to still have belief. So that'll be number 1. Got to have belief. Number 1 will be belief. All right, so let's go to number 2. What's number 2? Number 2, and by the way, if you only have belief, you cannot just take action. It's not going to happen. You have to have this second thing. Most people will just talk about, you got to have belief, you got to have belief, you got to have belief. Yes, that's important, but without the second thing, you can have all the belief in the world, it will do nothing for you. What's the next thing? Wait till you hear the third one, because the third one is going to help you even more. Value. What is value? Value is the level of importance you place on something. This is why somebody can believe, they know what they need to do to get results, but they don't have a high level of importance on it, and because of that, they now don't take action. Let me ask you an interesting question. How often do you think these 2 things change in your day-to-day life? You can't even count how many times they change. They go up and down, up and down. So when your value is very high, oh, it's so important to me to have more success, but you don't believe you can do it, what will you do? Nada. And if you do move forward, it will be very, very slow. On the other hand, let's say, oh man, I believe I can do it. It's it's just like right there in front of me. I know I can do this. But in your heart of hearts, even though you may not want to admit it, it's not as important to you as you think it is. That's why you're not taking consistent action toward your goals. Does that make sense? Give you another example. Let's say I'm in front of an auditorium of 1,000 people who are cigarette smokers, and I ask that audience, how many of you in the audience here would like to quit smoking? You're going to get just about, if not 100% of those, 99% of everybody's going to put their hand up, and they're going to say, I want to quit smoking. Let's say you give them the strategies and all that stuff, and they walk out. Now, their belief is very high, their value is very high. Let's say 6 months later, we come back with everybody, and you and I know only a small percent, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, maybe 5% of the max are really going to be those quitters. Why did those people quit smoking when all 995 of them didn't, and they all had value and belief? The difference is those who quit compared to those who didn't had a higher value and belief. Number one, they truly believed, and they had a high level or a reason for wanting to quit. Even though all the others said they had a reason too, but their level or their value, their level of importance wasn't what? Wasn't high enough. Here's one of the most important things that you want to do to have more success. You want to be consciously aware the very moment your value and belief changes, and your value and belief changes all day long. If you're in sales and you get a great big sale, typically what happens to your value and belief? What's it do? Does it go up or down? It goes straight up, right? How or why did it happen? It happened because you got the sale, it made you feel good, it may have validated a lot of things for you, that you can do it, that you're great at this, etc., and it automatically increases your value and belief. Now let's say you go day after day after day, week after week after week, and you get no sales, and still no sales. What happens to your value and belief now if we're not careful? It starts to what? It starts to go down. Are you aware of when your value and belief is going down? If you're not aware of it, how in the world can you stop it when it continues to go down? If you can't stop it, it's going to keep going down, and then you'll have no desire to take what? To take action. So now let's go to the last thing, the third thing. What's that third thing that we're going to need? So let's say our value and belief is down. We don't feel like taking action. What are we going to do now? This is the one word that most people don't like, because when we were younger, as we grew up with the understanding of this word to be very, very negative. And that's why it's so challenging. Because here's what's happening. As you're younger and we grow older, this is a bad word. And then there gets to be a point as we get a little bit older, maybe in our teenage years, a little further after that, this becomes a word that you need to fall in love with. But for the last 15, 18 years, you've been programmed to hate it. Oh, that's a screw up, right? What's the word? Here it is. Discipline. I have so much discipline. Discipline gets me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Discipline gets me to take action to do the things I don't feel like doing when my what and what is down. When my value and belief is down. So when your value and belief is low, you're not going to have a lot of desire and motivation to keep going. But here's what discipline will do for you. You keep putting in the discipline, sooner or later, because you're taking action, what do you think is going to happen to your value and belief? It's going to go straight up. Now you'll have the natural ability to take action. But you need to have discipline in your back pocket. And if you're not a disciplined person, when your value and belief goes down, so will the inability for you to take action. All right, hope you've enjoyed today's video. Love to see you subscribe so I can get to know you even more. And I am out of here till the next video. And between now and the next time we get to chat, you know what to do. And if you don't, you do now. Don't let others rent space in your head. Have a blessed day. Keep your value and belief high, and keep that discipline kicking in.